Today we're going to get into task 3, adding and subtracting our square roots. Let's kind of think back to when we just had just a variable in there. So 6x plus 2x, if I were to add those together, I would get a total of 8x. In the same way, we can also treat our square roots as these like terms. So as long as they have the same square root attached to them, we can add or subtract them together. So 6 square root of 2 plus 2 square root of 2 gives me a total of 8 square root 2. If I needed to simplify the square root in any way, I would do that. But as far as just adding and subtracting, as long as they have the same square root attached to them, I can add or subtract them together. Let's move down to number 3 and number 4. So I have negative 11 square root of 21 minus 11 square root of 21. So I have to think of this as negative 11 minus 11, and I get negative 22, and I'm going to just keep that square root 21 as a part of my answer. Same idea here, negative 9 square root of 15 plus 10 square root of 15. They have the same square root. I can add them together. Negative 9 plus 10 is a positive 1, and I keep that square root of 15 attached to it. If I wanted to maybe simplify something further, 1 times anything is really itself, so I don't even need that 1 there. You should try and do 5 and 6 on your own. I'm now going to zoom down to question number 8 because that's the first question I have where they do not have the same square root. They can only combine terms if they have the same square root. So what we're going to do, if we have square root of 3 here, this 27 most likely can be broken down into a situation where I have the square root of 3. Let's think about what perfect square can I divide out of 27? What perfect square can I divide out of 27? 27 can get broken down into 9 times 3. I'm going to bring down everything else. There's a 3 hanging out in front of this. I have a plus sign, negative 2 root 3 is all hanging out in front of this. I'm bringing it all down, but I'm going to simplify this part right here. My perfect square can come out. And so I end up with the square root of 9 is 3. And of course, that's going to be multiplied by the 3 that was already hanging out in front. So I now have 9 root 3 here that I'm adding with that negative 2 root 3. And so when I now have the same square root of 3 and square root of 3, negative 2 plus 9 is what I'm adding together. Negative 2 plus 9 is 7. So I have 7 root 3 as my answer. Let's go over to number 9. Again, I have root 6 and root 24. This 24 is my bigger number. Let's think about what I can break down. What perfect square can I divide out of 24? What perfect square can I divide out of 24? I should be able to break 24 down into 4 times 6. And there's a 2 hanging out in front of it. I'm going to go ahead and bring everything down here. That 4 is my perfect square that'll come out of my square root symbol. And when I take the square root of 4, I get a 2. So I have 2 root 6. And of course, there's already a 2 hanging out in front. So we kind of have the same situation. I'm going to do 2 times 2 is 4. And I am subtracting that with 2 root 6. 2 root 6 minus 4 root 6. So 2 minus 4 is negative 2, and I'll keep that root 6 as part of my answer. You should be doing number 10 on your own. See how you can break down 54 and then add your like terms, your like square roots together. Last few examples here on number 19. I'm going to break each of these down. They all have a perfect square that can come out of them. So 18, the perfect square I can divide out of 18 is 9. So I have 9 times 2, and there's a 3 hanging out in front. That 9 can come out of my square root. It becomes a 3 out in front. I'm going to have to multiply it times 3. And so 3 times 3 is 9 root 2. My second one, so square root of 12. The perfect square I can divide out of 12 is 4. 4 times 3 is how 12 gets broken down. That 3 is still going to hang out in front. When I bring my perfect square 4 out, when I take the square root of 4, I get 2. And that is, of course, going to be multiplied by this 3 that's hanging in front. And so I have plus 6 root 3. And my last one, this 27, we've done it already at the beginning of this section. 27 can be broken down into 9 times 3, and this 2 is still in front of it. And when I take that 9 out, it becomes a 3 that I'm going to have to multiply times the 2 that was already in front. So 2 times 3 is 6. I have 6 root 3. And this last part here, I'm going to add together the things that are like terms. My like terms are 6 root 3 and 6 root 3. This one cannot be combined together. So my final answer for this is 9 root 2 plus 12 root 3. That is my final answer. That is as simplified as it gets. Try number 20. There's nothing to break down, but think about which of those square roots can combine together and what would it look like when they do combine together.